Hey guys, M.V.K here back again. So this is actually a video response, guys. A video response that I had planned um a while ago. Now, if you guys follow my good friend Mr. Multiverse, he did a video after I kind of gave him the word on that they were doing an animated version of um Jurassic League. And then he went into a video. He went into the whole video of giving his thoughts on the Tomorrowverse, and also gave his viewing on what should be what are some other DC stories that could be adapted to animated. Now, I think I've done something like this before, but I've never really kind of give my really big overarching overview of the DC Tomorrowverse. Now, we all know, if you haven't known and you've been living under a rock, Tomorrowverse is coming to an end this year. This is the final year of the Tomorrowverse. The producers and the writers, and some of the writers, but the producers of the Tomorrowverse said that the Tomorrowverse was always only going to be 10 stories. I find that hard to believe, because they would go on later to say, when they were being interviewed by Screen Rant, that if Warner Brothers and DC had said to do 20, they would have done it. Now, partially to me, I find that hard to believe, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of it has to do with what James Gunn is doing. He is going to put his own twist to everything. I do have a feeling about that. But everything that is not a part of his DC studios, including the animated stuff, is going to be called DC Elseworld. So that's fine. I don't mind that. However, the DC animated universe has always been a tumultuous roller coaster, in my opinion. It's been a serious roller coaster. You get some good stuff. You get it's high, and then it's like you're on a roller coaster. And Tomorrowverse has been, to me, a big mess. And out of the movies that I've seen, I haven't seen all of them. I haven't seen World. I didn't care for that. I didn't really care to watch that, but I've seen pretty much all the others. And by far, if you want my opinion on them, here it is. Before I get into the list myself, look, it was a big mess. Tomorrowverse came after they did the whole New 52 reboot. And I didn't care for Apocalypse War. I thought that was just over the top for no particular reason. In my opinion, that was just me. But outside of that, Superman Man of Tomorrow was at best. It could have been better. I was so happy that JSA was going to get some kind of spotlight. Y'all know me. I'm a big JSA fan. And then we get JSA World War II, and it's still centered around Barry Allen. I'm like, what the fuck is this? JSA, not Flash, Barry Allen Flash, but it did. I didn't even mind that they had Wonder Woman in it, but it would have been cooler if it was Hippolyta Wonder Woman, if it was Hippolyta instead. And I did not mind that she spoke with an accent. Yes, it was supposed to be more Gal Gadot, but I appreciate that Wonder Woman isn't speaking with the Queen's English. That's how I look at it. It's like, no offense to Susan Eisenberg, who's voiced that character for some time, but I want Wonder Woman with an accent. My favorite was Long Halloween, because that's always been one of my favorite Batman stories. Jensen Ackles did a great job voicing him, and Jensen Ackles he's on my list as probably one of my top 5 favorite Batman voice actors. That's how good he was. And if he wants to come and be Batman, Mr. Gunn, give it to him. Give it to him. But the Green Lantern, fuck that movie. I did not like that. Yeah, I said that. Fuck that movie. Yeah, basically, yeah. Let's take Kyle's story and give it to John. Okay, yeah. The Legion of Superheroes with Supergirl, at best. I still haven't seen the first first part of Crisis on Infinite Earths. But I will watch that. Bottom line, Tomorrowverse was a hot mess at times. I will give them credit that it did have you easily knew that this was a Tomorrowverse movie, not maybe because of the art style. I like that this specific run of DC animated movies had a specific art style. That was cool. I like that. That was interesting. But having said that, it was a hot mess. I'm sorry, it was. If you enjoyed everything of the Marvels, more power to you. But for me, I got some great in the beginning of the DC animated movies in the beginning, like Superman and Batman, Public Enemy, Superman, Batman's last, all those good stuff. Those were good. Those were good. Those were great. But yeah, whatever. But with that being said, yeah, there's still an abundance of DC stories from this library of storytelling from one of the biggest American comic companies in the States that they haven't even touched. And I don't know why. It boggles my mind. But with that being said, I got 8. I got eight. I wrote them down just to make sure. I got 8 of them. Let's get to the 8. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Okay. So obviously one of them is definitely the Sinestro Corps War. I have no idea why they've never done this. No clue why they have never done the Sinestro Corps Wars. They should have been done this a long time ago. Probably one of the most biggest Green Lantern storylines since Emerald Knight. And you don't give us this. That boggles my mind. So there's the good Elseworld story to do. And they could do a sequel. The sequel, Blackest Night. That's number 2. Why not? Blackest Night was just as good as Sinestro Corps War. I would do it. No problem. No problem whatsoever. I'm just saying. It would be cool. Yes, these are 2 of probably Jeff Johns' biggest stories. And I like Jeff Johns to a degree, especially his earlier work and things like that. Certain characters he did well. And with Green Lantern, yeah, when he rebirthed that character, yeah, he did damn good well. And I will always give him credit for that. Always. He will always get a thumbs up from me with that. Number 3 is it's actually 2, but it's Wonder Woman centered stories. The first one is called Wonder Woman. This is under Greg Rucka's run, and it was called it was called Wonder Woman Hikateri. Basically, this was a story. Basically, Greg Rucka was explaining to us readers that why Wonder Woman is so on par with some of the other heroes, including Superman. And in this run, she had a ward. She had a ward of her own that she escaped from sex trafficking. And then, of course, Wonder Woman kind of went on a blended justice against a lot of principles that a lot of the heroes, including Batman, was against, and it pitted Batman and Wonder Woman against each other for a while. And that was a really good story. It was really cool to see Diana in that role of having a ward. She kind of had a ward, and I'm not talking like Donna Troy or Cassie Sandsmart, anybody like that. Yara. No, it was a different type, and it was actually really good. The other story is called The 12 Labors. Now you can say, but isn't that Hercules? Yeah, they kind of did something like this back in the day. This was at a time when Wonder Woman didn't have her powers. She lost her powers for a while, and she was kind of like a spy. But to get their powers back, she had to go through all these 12 labors by the gods, and I thought that was really cool. I know a lot of people don't like that story of when Wonder Woman didn't have her powers, but it would be interesting to see them try to tell that story. So those are 2. That equals 3. Number 4 on the list comes from a Teen Titan. Now, They have done probably arguably the greatest Teen Titans story live animated wise adaptation, Judas Contract. But there are other Titan stories that are really damn good. And one of them that also was one of my favorite is a story arc that was under, I believe it was under George Perez and their run, Who is Donna Troy? This was really good. This was a really good story that kind of went through the realms of like, who is this woman? Who is she? What is she? You got a kind of a abundance of who this character was, and I thought it was really good. I haven't read it in a long time, but I do remember the concept of it. But yeah, it was one of those it's one of those Titan stories that don't get talked about enough, but it's damn good. It's one of those Titan stories that everybody just thinks about the Judas Contract, and I understand that. That was a great story, but this was also good. Number 5 on the list is probably one of my favorite Green Arrow stories. This was a miniseries called Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. Yeah. They have never done an animated Green Lantern story, and I think it's by far they need to do one. I love Arrow. I'm a big Green Arrow fan. I love Ollie. I love his, and I'm really enjoying his the Green Arrow series that DC is putting out now. I think it's really great. But yeah, Longbow Hunters is a very, 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 very. I think it's only 3 issues. It's a 3-part miniseries, but it tells the story of Shadow and all that, and of course, basically Ollie being hunted by these longbow hunters. So it's really cool. Black Canary plays a big part in it as well. So it's, if you haven't read it, I don't want to spoil it for everybody. Go check it out. It's called Green Arrow Longbow Hunters. Good stuff. Another number 6, probably another one of my favorite Batman story arcs, but yes, it is so goddamn long, but it was one of my favorites not because of just Batman, but because of the supporting characters in it that I loved. And that is No Man's Land. We have never gotten a No Man's Land adaptation. Now, No Man's Land ran for freaking ever. I remember it vividly. This happened back in the 90s. It was running through every publication of Batman books that was out during the 90s. And it was basically Gotham City had been quarantined, so nobody can get in, nobody can get out. The Justice League tried everything to try to get in, but they wouldn't. And it showcased how much the people of Gotham love their city, but also never judge. With all the villains running around and Batman doing what he can, you got Jim Gordon, who he became like a general in this. He was like a general, and I loved it. Even Poison Ivy, she protected the children of Gotham. She, like, all the children in Gotham ran to the Gotham City parks, and she was in there, and she protected them. So any kind of crazies or criminals that tried to come in there to harm them, or just she would hurt them for it. She protected kids. It just showed that Ivy is not as devious and villainous as you think. And it was really cool to see that. And at the end of that story arc, it was Bruce basically having so much respect for Jim, he decided to unmask himself. He unmasked himself to give Jim, like, okay, you need to know. I want you to know who I am. As soon as he knew it, Jim turned around. He never saw his face. And I think, and I remember correctly, it was more out of respect. But that just shows how much Bruce cared and respected Jim, because he's like, you held it down, you protected the city as much as better than I could. Jim Gordon, that was like a general. And this was also at a time when Cassandra Cain entered Gotham, and Helena Bertinelli was Batgirl for a while in that. So yeah. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. definitely. But No Man's Land, because I've got pretty much every other my favorite Batman storylines or story arcs, animated wise to a degree. Yeah. Um, Number 7 on the list is another JSA story that I think would be damn good to write, to see done properly. Um, and this could have really been the real end of, I guess you could say, the Tomorrowverse if you wanted to do it, but I guess not. But one of the JSA storylines that I really enjoyed was the last days of the JSA. This came right after Infinity Crisis on Infinite Earths. This was right after that, and pretty much it was the JSA feeling like they're not needed anymore. They're feeling like you got all the Justice League and these new heroes, this new breed of heroes. They felt like their time, their ethics of being a hero has passed. It wasn't like they felt like they were passing the torch. The torch was passed. It felt like it almost felt to them like someone took the torch and said, your kind of heroics are not needed anymore. Goodbye. And that's how they all felt. But it was a really damn good story. I do recommend it if you've never read it. It's called The Last Days of the JSA. Very good story. Very, very good story. So yeah, that's number 7. Number 8, of course, is another one that I don't know why the fuck this has not been done. Kingdom Come. You talk about one of the greatest Mark Waid stories where he was just sprinkling that magic. Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come. He did such a great job with that series, with that story. And they have never, ever thought about doing that story. But you do Injustice. Come on. And even that was terrible. I don't understand why. Number 10. I said 8, but I meant 10. Excuse me. Number 10. The last two kind of center around a certain universe. Number 10. The Trials of Shazam. This was a series. It's called The Trials of Shazam, but it had nothing to do with Captain Marvel, Billy Batson at all. It had nothing to do with it, but it was a damn good story. It came out in 2006, I believe, if I remember correctly, and it focused on Freddie Freeman trying to get his powers back. So he was going through all these trials that were being tested, that were executed by different gods, and it was really good. It was a really good story. It really gave a real good focus on Freddie. Because everybody, when you think about Captain Marvel and all that, still it centers around Billy Batson. But the other Marvel family, or whatever you want to call them, Freddie Freeman and Mary, they all play a good role. And that was something that I thought was really good. So yeah, Trials of Shazam was actually good. And number 10, this was another one I would have thought they would have done too, especially in light of before anything, but World War III. And World War III is a storyline that happened during DC 52 week story. Remember that? The 52 weeks where we got to see what were the heroes doing in the span of 52 weeks. In this story, Black Adam, Teth Adam, loses his family. ISIS and I'm forgetting his son's name. They're killed. They're murdered, and he goes on a fucking tirade against humanity, and it becomes so bad. He becomes so enraged that it takes the entire superhero community to band together to fight him. To the point he is fighting, and I'll never forget it. It was so bad. He was so raged out. It took five Kryptonians just to fucking hold him back. I was like, whoa, Superman, Supergirl, Power Girl, Superboy, and Kingdom Come Superman. 5. They couldn't even hold him back. Like, that's how raged out he was. But it was basically World War III. It was the world against Black Adam, Teth Adam, after the death of his family, and it was good. I enjoyed it very much. You know, I thought it was really good. It focused on, it really showcased to the world, like, why technically Black Adam is a villain. Like, he's a villain, like, anti-hero, okay, but I guess The Rock didn't understand that. No, I'm just sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I'm not. No, I'm not sorry. As much as I love The Rock, yo, Rock, hey, Teth Adams a villain. He's not what you tried to make him. But yeah, this was a really good story, and I would have thought they would have maybe tried to think about doing this because of the release of the Black Adam movie. You know, try to give us a little something before or so. But yeah, that was it was called World War III, and it's not the first time DC used that title, but this was like the second time I believe they used it. But yeah, it was a good story. It was really good. Well, that's it, guys. I ran my mouth off for 20 minutes. For 20 minutes of basically giving you my thoughts on the Tomorrowverse. Like I said before, if I was given a grade, it's a D. It's just sliding by. It's not really, I would never give the Tomorrowverse a really passing grade. D at the least. D minus D. And these are some other stories they can do a part of their Elseworld animated stories, because that's what anything else outside of James Gunn's DC Studios, they're going to be called Elseworld. So Matt Reeves' Batman, that's Elseworld. All the stuff, that's Elseworld. But yeah, that's it. Guys, you guys tell me in the comment section below, what did you think? I look forward to hearing what you guys got to think. And if you haven't watched my friend Mr. Multiverse, I'll leave it in the description down below. Go check it out. I miss YouTube doing having the option of video responses. I love that. That made you feel a lot very, I wouldn't just say special, but it really showcased that people are viewing your work and they want to respond to it. I love that. I love that so much. And I wish they had never gotten rid of that. So this is a video response to him. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time. As always, take care of my pack. Deuces.